What is going on, Rebels and Reblettes? So as we all know, once we have cleared a specific region in the Pokemon world and acquired 8 gym badges, we are then qualified to take on the Pokemon League Challenge. Once entered into the Pokemon League, the player must then take on 4 elite trainers who are believed to be the best trainers for that specific region. However, some of these Elite Four members give players more trouble than others, and some can be a total walk in the park. But we aren't here to distinguish the easy ones. We are here to talk about the top 5 Elite Four members that gave us the most trouble, and when I mean us, I have a special guest here to help me figure out who these members are.
Hey guys, Aura here, and as Mystic said, the Elite Four at times can be very challenging. They're basically harder versions of gym leaders. But which Elite Four members gave us the most trouble? Let's find out.
Starting off at number 5, we have the Sinnoh Psychic Master Lucian, who I can say gave me quite a bit of trouble with that irritating Bronzong he has, along with a few others. During the time of when Diamond and Pearl came out, I was about 12, and I could not for the life of me figure out what typing his Bronzong was because it resisted so much. I finally figured Ground was a weakness, but then it had Levitate. Dark didn't work because Steel resisted it in generations 2 through 5, the same also applies for Ghost. The only typing that was super effective was Fire, and even then all the Fire Pokemon in the Sinnoh decks weren't that great, besides for Infernape and the Magmar line. That's bad because not everyone starts off with Chimchar, and Magmar isn't around until the aftergame, and Rapidash, well, it isn't exactly the greatest. Other than Lucian's Bronzong though, his team wasn't all that hard besides his Medicham with all the elemental punches, which gave Lucian a great amount of variety, able to cover almost any Pokemon besides Fire. Because there are no good Fire types in Diamond and Pearl besides Infernape and the Magmar line, Lucian's Bronzong we believe is his biggest threat, and if the player doesn't know what they're doing against it, it could mean big trouble.
When making this list, I was curious to see what other people thought were some of the hardest Elite Four members, and one of the names that came up quite a lot, no surprise, is Lorelei from the Kanto Elite Four, mainly her yellow team. Now looking at her team, your first thoughts might just be, Pikachu can just Thunderbolt her whole team! And that's what I bet most people in yellow did, but it's not that simple. The main reasons most people had a rough time beating Lorelei is a combination of her Pokemon being hard to feint, and occasionally being hard to hit as well, due to your Pokemon either being confused, or, if you're really unlucky, asleep or even frozen. All of her Pokemon have at least one move that can mess with you. Her Dugong can heal itself with Rest, her Cloyster can confuse you with Supersonic, her Slowbro just refuses to die with defense boosting moves like Withdraw and Amnesia, Jinx can put you to sleep with Lovely Kiss, but the main Pokemon that people struggle with is her Lapras. Not only can this thing easily take hits, but it can paralyze you with Body Slam and confuse you with Confuse Ray. And as we all know, trying to use a move while paralyzed and confused sometimes seems impossible. The main weaknesses of her team are Rock, Grass, and Electric. While Rock and Grass types are covered thanks to Lorelei's team having Water and Ice moves at her disposal. The best shot at beating Lorelei is with, like I said, Electric moves, and most people in Yellow will be using a Pikachu as their Electric type. But the problem is, Pikachu is not only pretty weak, meaning its attacks sometimes won't do enough, but Pikachu also can't take a hit. At all. Another popular Electric type in Gen 1 is Zapdos, but Zapdos is weak to Ice, which most of Lorelei's team has. So to put it in short, Lorelei a lot of times can really be a pain.
So as most of you guys know, I did a video a while back on why there are no Dark-type gyms, and Exilian and I mentioned that it was because we feel that a Dark-type gym leader would use too dirty of tactics, and that is exactly why the reason Karen has won her place onto this list. By taking a look at Karen's team, we can clearly see that her move pool is based on annoying the player. This can consist of moves like Destiny Bond, Sand Attack, or Confuse Ray. With moves like these in mind, we can see that this devious Dark-type master is not easy in the least bit, especially if she is able to hit the player with these attacks. Once the player is hit with these attacks, it becomes very difficult to land a hit on Karen, because they will either miss a lot, have the effects of Destiny Bond kick in, or get hit with status conditions. Karen can really render the player useless, and can really get them to think on what move they should make.
Flint is the Fire-type Elite Four member of Sinnoh. Well, at least I think he is. In fact, let's take a look at his Diamond and Pearl team real quick. Rapidash? Alright. Infernape? Oh, that's awesome. Steelix? Okay. Lopunny? Weird. And Drifblim? What? What is this? This is not a fire team. This is 2/5 of a fire team. Now Flint's platinum team was all fire. However, what makes his diamond and pearl team a lot more of a challenge is the fact that his team is 1, more highly leveled, and 2, most of them are medium fire type. This can be surprising for some people, especially those who are prepared for a fire type team. Fire is weak to water, rock, and ground, but Flint is very much prepared for all 3 of those types. 3 of his Pokemon have Sunny Day, including his Lopunny and, you'd never guess, his Steelix. Who the hell put Sunny Day on a Steelix? No one, which is why you wouldn't see it coming. This halves the power of water moves, which also helps his Steelix out. In terms of coverage, aside from the obvious fire attacks which all of his Pokemon have, his Rapidash has Solar Beam, which covers all fire weaknesses. Infernape has great coverage with Flare Blitz, Thunder Punch for water types, Earthquake for rock types, and just in case, Mach Punch for priority. His Lopunny has Charm to weaken any physical attacker, and if you decide to try and be smart and use a special move, it also has Mirror Coats. Now you might be thinking so far, this doesn't seem too bad, but let's take a look at the icing on the cake. Flint's Drifblim. Everyone hates evasion, right? Well, this thing has plenty of it. It has Double Team, but even worse, it also has Baton Pass, meaning literally any of his Pokemon can become almost impossible to hit. Not only that, Drifblim also has Will-O-Wisp to nerf any physical attackers, and even when you finally take out the damn Ghost Balloon, it can still hurt you with its ability Aftermath. For a fire-type trainer, Flint and Diamond and Pearl was pretty hard to beat, mainly because, again, most of his team wasn't even fire-type.
So for number 1, we have picked one of the oldest existing Elite Four members ever, Agatha. Agatha has by far given us the most trouble out of all the Elite Four members up to this point. However, she has 2 teams, being in Fire Red and Leaf Green, and of course the originals including Yellow. And that's exactly what team we are talking about, her Yellow team. Her remakes team can be troublesome too, but there are more types during this time of Generation 3 that can cover her team, especially having actual damaging ghost type attacks. But now, back to her Yellow team. Agatha has an Arbok on her team that has the move Wrap on it. A lot of you guys know that during Generation 1, Wrap became an attack that immobilizes the opponent's Pokemon, meaning it cannot attack until Wrap has ended. Not to mention her Arbok also has Glare, which can paralyze the player and can slow down the speed. This gives Arbok the opportunity to set up Wrap if the effects of paralysis kick in. Her Arbok isn't the only problem though. She has other Pokemon with devious movesets very similar to Karen's team, and getting hit with one of these attacks can still be quite the nuisance. Her Arbok using a Wrap though is by far one of the most annoying things that gave me trouble with Agatha, because of how broken it was in Generation 1. Well, that pretty much wraps up our top 5 hardest Elite Four battles. Elite Four members are meant to be very tough and can really put the trainer to the test. These were the members we had the hardest time with. What members did you guys struggle with? Share with us in the comment section below. I also wanted to thank Auraguardian for helping me tackle this list.
Thanks so much for featuring me on your channel, Mystic. We also did a collab over on my channel, where this time we talked about our picks for the 5 hardest champions in Pokemon, so be sure to stop by if you want to see more.
With all that being said, I've been Mystic Umbreon, and I will see you in the future for more Pokemon content.